Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I don't know, just observing the behavior of the Russian leadership in the past, 15 years, I noticed many things, but one in particular. They are consistent in doing what they said they will do. Now, that's very important. They can be, unpredictable as well, but usually they react to things. This is my assessment. So when the Americans placed sanctions on the Russian Federation, they retaliated back. When the Americans closed a Russian cultural office, I think they call it, and I think it was on the West Coast, California, Oregon, or Washington, the state of Washington, a cultural center. The Russians did the same thing. When the Americans or the Brits or others kicked out Germans, or the Germans kicked out some Russian diplomats because this and that, they did the same thing. So they always said, we are going to respond. And they always responded. Good or bad. I observed that if they said, I'm going to give you $1, they gave you $1. If they said, I will punch you in the nose, they punch you in the nose. They didn't tell you exactly when, but they will do it. So I would at least pay attention to this if I would be the adversary or the enemy of the Russians. So when I say, well, I do this to you, and the other guy is going to say, well, don't do it, because if you do it, I have to respond, or I will respond like this, based on my national interest. I will say, okay, what's the next move? It's like a chess game. So what happened now? You know this fantastic coalition of F-16s that supposedly the Western countries are putting together to send to Ukraine. I don't think we can be so idiots to believe that there's going to be the Ukrainians piloting those. I don't think some pilots, they're going to be trained 4 months, according now, not 6 or 7 or 8, as much as it needed for a training for a pilot. They say, well, they can master it in 4 months. Okay, master it in 4 months. I doubt the fact that the Western countries will provide F-16s to Ukrainian pilots. I have my own doubts, and one reason why is, if you remember in Korea, the war in Korea, there were MiG-15, beautiful planes. MiG-15 were seen over the Korean sky, fighting the Americans and whomever was over there involved. And who was piloting those MiG-15s? Well, I can tell you, it was not the Koreans. It was the Soviets. My bad. You see, caught myself. The Soviets. Why? They intercepted the communication between the pilots. So they didn't give. I think they gave them some, but mostly they were the Soviets fighting over there. The same here. I don't think these guys are gonna give Ukrainian pilots the F-16s on their hands. If they give them, they're afraid these guys are gonna do something or whatever. I have doubts. Nevertheless, the Russians now say, you know what? We warn you, tells the states, the coalition, if you are going to deliver and you're going to use F-16s in Ukraine to fight us, then we're going to have a problem. And they issue a little warning. So I have an article here coming from The Hill, and here it is. This article comes from today, May 20th, 2023. Russian official warns Western countries face enormous risks if they supply Ukraine with F-16s. Now let's see. I know these guys here, they they won't do anything, we're too good for them. And then boom, Patriot system blown up. A top Russian official warned Western countries of enormous risks if they supply Ukraine with F-16 fighter aircrafts. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Alexander Grushko told the state-run Russian news agency TASS that they always put these kind of things, you know what I mean? But when they use Ukrainska Pravda or the New Voice of Ukraine or this Ukrainian media outlets that are ran by the Ukrainian, state. No, they don't use it. They use it only for the TASS. So the state-run, TASS said that Ukraine's Western allies are continuing to escalate the conflict, and the Kremlin will take their plan to send the F-16s into account. And I'm quoting, "We can see that Western countries continue to stick to an escalation scenario, which carries enormous risks for them. In any case, we will take it into account when making plans. We have all the necessary means to achieve our goals," end quote, Grushko said. A senior administration official told The Hill that President Biden informed other world leaders at the Group of Seven G7 summit on Friday that the United States will support a joint effort to train Ukrainian pilots to use F-16s. And I might add that they said, "We have no objections if you guys want to send F-16s to Ukraine. We will not at this point, but you can if you want." That's what I found articles, and I made a video on that one. The official said that the US hopes the training can start in the coming week and it will take months to complete. They said the countries involved will decide when to provide Ukraine with the jets right here. How many to provide and who will provide them. So he said, "Well, I'm washing my hands, do whatever you want, guys." After they ignited the whole thing with in 2013, 2014 with Victoria Nuland. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, you can provide them if you want. I'm not telling you not to do it, but it's not going to be me. So burn yourselves. They added that the training will take place outside Ukraine and sites in Europe. At sites in Europe, not United States. I think they have like 2 pilots in the United States at this point, Ukrainian pilots. The F-16s are 4th generation aircraft. I made a lot of articles on this, and the first one that came and flew was in, I think, brace yourselves, 78? 78? I think it was designed in 74. So yes, the 4th generation aircraft that are significant upgrades to the Soviet Union era jets that Ukraine has been flying. Why? Again, the Russians just stand still. They didn't upgrade it. They didn't upgrade anything. Only we upgraded because we're special. I mean, really, do you remember what country on this planet had an international space station? Was it the United States or was Soviet Union and then Russia? Do you remember who sent the first satellite into space? The first dog into space? The first man in the orbit? Was it the United States who sent the first on the moon? Was the Americans? Yes, it was the Americans. Yes, I remember that one. I was not alive though, but anyway, so it seems like the Russians are idiots here. Somehow they can't do anything. They always steal, but sometimes they are ahead of time. Like, for instance, the hypersonic missiles. The United States doesn't have anything comparable with that. But hey, the hypersonic were hit by Patriot. That's what they say. Okay? So it's strange that somehow we invent everything here, which we do most of it. We used to. I don't know if at this point if it's going to still be the same way due to diversity, inclusion, and equity, and all those things. But anyway, somehow the Russians are ahead of us in certain departments. The same here. Yeah, we upgraded the F-16 built in 1970s, which we did, but the Russians didn't. No, the MiG-29, 29, no, it was not updated. No. Sukhoi 35, no. Just check it out and see when those were built, okay? That's your homework. All right, let's see what else these weasels are saying. Ukrainian president of Ukraine, Zelensky, who has made an in-person appearance at the G7 summit, has been pushing for Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. Now, just so you know, Mr. Zelensky is currently in Japan, attending the G7, while Bakhmut fell to the Russians. Zaluzny, the commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian army, nowhere to be found, haven't seen him lately, after that NATO no-show thing, but just someone text with his hand or something. Anyway, where is he? And this guy just flew on a French plane in Saudi Arabia to attend the Arab League summit. What? Ukraine, Arab League, G7, Ukraine. What is going on here? Is he running? Do they keep him safe? Because I think after those attacks, drone attacks on the Kremlin, if you remember, those two, I think Putin said, okay, the restriction to take care of this guy are out, gone. And since then, he's been to Norway, to Finland, then he's been to Paris, not to Paris. Yes, been to Paris, been to London, he's been all around, he's been to Berlin, I think, when he got that Charlemagne, whatever title, it was vomiting, is how it was, but anyway, and then he came back, supposedly, to Ukraine, had 2 days, a day and a half, of a meeting with all these guys, the most important guys that we don't know if they're still alive, and then bang, the French took him to Saudi Arabia, and then from that to G7. Is he still coming back to Ukraine? I have doubts, but we'll see. Remember, pictures. I want to see pictures in the context. I don't want to see pictures taken 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, last year. All right, we'll see. Thank you very much for being with me again today. What will be the consequences, do you think? I don't think the Russians will hit any targets in the Western Europe or Poland or wherever going to be the distribution hub. Pop, boom. I don't know. They're going to hit them as they come in. We'll see. But I don't think those guys would get the chance to send the F-16s. By that time, the war could be gone. We'll see. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.